Thank you. So a person making $10.20 an hour would make $21,216 a year. Now, I know that we are a smart group of people, and that is a really low number if we're expecting people to be able to pay for the basic necessities of life. And really, when we're talking about the wage differential for liquor servers, that's even lower. It was $19,136 an hour. So of course, what I am doing is I'm rising to speak in support of a phased-in approach to $15 an hour. And of course, that is a promise that we made during the election last year. It's a commitment that accompanied with consultation with employees and employers would be phased in with a goal to reach $15 by 2018. And I rise because I'm wanting to talk about the people that we are really talking about. On average, we are talking about a woman, and she is 20 years of age or older. She works full-time. She has a high school education or greater, and her job is permanent, not seasonal, not temporary. And she's the head of a household, and it is her only job. And there are people that work more than one job to make ends meet. But is that what we want? Is that what we want, to have the head of the household be away from their children more than they should be? And why is it important? You know, we need to ask ourselves in this House, in this position, do we want Albertans to be able to engage meaningfully in their communities? Do we want that person to be living paycheck to paycheck? Is that something that we really want to be ingraining in people, that they can't make plans for the future? Living paycheck to paycheck does not allow you to do simple things that we all take for granted. And we do these things in this job all of the time, and we take them for granted. We have the opportunity to go to the movies. We have the opportunity to visit art galleries. We have the opportunity to drive to the mountains. People making now $11.20 an hour can't do that. You know, and simple things for people's families. Purchasing a winter coat is a luxury that we take for granted. The $15 an hour after working 40 hours a week for a year is only $31,200. We're not talking about people that can set aside money for retirement. We're not talking about people that travel outside of the city even. We're talking about people that are just making ends meet. And there are other ways to assist that the government is doing. We are being a part of investing in the STEP program to assist students in gaining valuable work experience. The government is investing in the Alberta Child Benefit Tax Program that'll benefit 340,000 children. We've committed to investing in stable funding in hospitals, in schools, in FCSS, but we all have a role in addressing inequality in Alberta. We have that role as business owners and as people that make those other decisions. My dad, he owned his own painting business, and he started people at $15 an hour. It was a small business. It was a meager business. It's not like we ever made a lot of money. And he knew that if you had the ability to hire someone, if you had the privilege to hire someone, then you had the privilege to pay them. And you had the privilege to pay them what they deserved. It was always part of his business plan. He would draw up a contract that would include estimates of time and materials, and businesses do this all of the time on an ongoing basis. They do have to plan, and costs do go up. And everyone here understands that, but it concerns me when I meet with stakeholder groups and they tell me that you can't control food, and you can't control transportation costs, and you can't control fuel costs or energy costs, but you can control labor costs. That gives me great, great concern, because what that tells a person is that I give you what I think you deserve, not what I think you need to survive in this world or to thrive in this world. Working as a nursing attendant after 3 years, I was making $12.50 an hour. I couldn't stay at that job taking care of people not unlike your parents and your grandparents, making $12.50 an hour. I went from that job to working somewhere as a supervisor because thankfully I did have other experience at that time, but I couldn't do things like own a car. I couldn't do things like take a trip with friends. You can't do things like buy Christmas presents for your family. It's just quite simply not possible. And to try and believe otherwise is to be disingenuous. We know what the simple math is, and we don't want to come down to simple numbers when we're talking about people, but that is the simple, at the end of the day, numbers that people are counting on us to think about when we think about how it is that they take care of themselves and take care of their families. The member from Battle River Wainwright was talking about job mobility. So, of course, you know, the idea that he is putting across is that you enter at minimum wage, and then you use that as your starting point to move up the ladder. Well, when I was working in long-term care, that wasn't a ladder to ascend. That was my job. That was my career. My career was to be a nursing attendant. That after 3 years paid $12.50 an hour. That was the post that I chose. So the idea that that job is only worth $12.50 an hour is appalling to me. And I have to look around this room and expect that it's appalling to everyone else. And only making minimum wage does not give you job mobility. It does not give you the ability to save for upgrading your education. It does not give you the ability to save for post-secondary. It does not give you the ability to own a car. You know, the public transportation, being privileged to live, growing up in an urban center, you can take the bus, and that is great. But when you work out, or when you live out in rural areas of Alberta, not having access to public transportation limits your mobility as to what you can do, where you can go, what careers you can fulfill. That's a very basic need that lots of Albertans have that we take for granted all of the time. And I just want to tell you some of the things that happen when you make minimum wage. Just things that we need to keep in our minds when we think about these issues. When I grew up, my parents, either of my parents could not afford a winter coat. We're talking about Albertan winters. And so when we're talking about, single moms or single dads or even people that between the two of them can't afford a winter coat, it's something that when I had finally the opportunity, making a little bit more than $15 an hour, and was able to donate to the United Way, one of the things that you could pick was buying 4 winter coats for a family. And it gave me great honor to be able to provide that for a family. And being so privileged to be here and be able to think about those people that are not only in my constituency but in the rest of Alberta, that I can play my part in helping take care of those people is incredibly rewarding to me, and I'm so proud to do it and to stand up for them.